Welcome back, everybody. Hopefully you guys are having an awesome weekend. So we're going to check out some of the bigger snakes. They're not massively huge by any means, but they are bigger than the ones that we have been looking at, and we haven't seen these ladies in quite a while. So this girl just shed out. She is a 100% pure Argentine boa. So she is a locality snake, and this is their natural form in the wild. And this would just be the classic black and white Argentine. They do have a Max Pink, but I would probably suggest, if you're going to buy a Max Pink, so I've been told, is to buy one that is very high quality, which also means pretty expensive, because the higher the quality, the better the colorations will be as they get into adulthood, and as they age, they'll still stay fairly bright with their colors. If you get a lower quality one, they can kind of fade out and their colors kind of really aren't there as they're maturing and going into their adult colors. So I personally like the classic black and whites. I do like the Max Pinks as well, but when I got her many years ago, I really didn't know anything about them, and she was only $200, so I was like, hey, I like boas, and she's a really cool color, so I'll just go ahead and buy her. Now, they're a little bit more difficult to find. If you have $800 to $1,000 to spend on a boa, and you want a locality, I would suggest buying an Argentine. They're only going to get rarer. I personally think they're going to be harder and harder to find in the future, because not that many people are breeding them. And of course, they're on the endangered lists down in South America, because we humans are farming and putting up housing and stuff like that, and industries in their natural habitats. So we're obviously killing the forests, and then we're killing them as well. So it's definitely sad, but that's kind of an unfortunate thing. So it's nice to have good breeders that are keeping these species around and alive for us to reproduce and to have as pets. So in the States, they might be a little bit difficult. I know there's some breeders in Canada. Anywhere else in the world, I have no idea. So she's starting to get a little hissy. She's been out for quite a while. I've been kind of messing around with her and poking her and moving her around for pictures and stuff like that for Instagram. But she's getting a good size on her. I have been told that the Argentines can get a little bit bigger lengthwise and weight-wise than the common boa, and maybe just a little bit more than the red tail. But there are some red tails that gets very, very large, so I'm not sure about that one. I have no breeding plans with her. If I do come across a male at some point that I can afford, she still has some growing to do, and I'm feeding her probably a large or jumbo every couple weeks to a month. So nothing ridiculous on her feeding, but she's definitely getting some size on her. You can see her tail. There is no other mixes in there. A lot of people do mix them with the IMGs. A lot of people do mix them with red tails or the commons. So you get that nice hybrid where you can see the patterns on the tails of the common boa, and then sometimes the saddles are more pronounced for doing that. But a lot of people, I don't know why you would want to mix anything into such a gorgeous animal like this to ruin the natural colors. I mean, that's just something that I don't understand. I would never do, but some people just want to try to breed crazy things, and it is what it is. So I wanted to show her how she just shed. So her colors are amazing. They're more of a grayish color when they're babies, and I noticed with her it was about the 1.5 year mark-ish when she started to change colors. So they do change into the more dark black, grayish with the white colorations on them, which I think is really cool. And then a blackerish, I don't know what color that would be, gray maybe? It's kind of like cement, but just a gorgeous snake all around. I do trust her for a little bit. She's very, very defensive of her cage. I have to use a hook with her, If I stick my hands in there, I will 100% get bits as a feeding response or defensive response. But once she's out, the second she's out of her cage, she's perfectly fine. Now if I were to put her back right now, close the cage, go do something and come back, and I reach my hand in here in her cage and try to grab her again, she would definitely bite me. So I'd have to retake a hook and get her out. But it's all about reading the snake, knowing your snake, knowing which snake is defensive in the cage. But when she's out, like I said, I have no problems with her. And I think some of you guys were saying that your Argentines are a little bit cage defensive as well. But just wanted to show her. I haven't shown her in a while. And since she just shed out, why not show her in her beautiful new skin. But I'm going to put her back. And I don't like snakes around my face, like at all. Like it's one thing that does get me a little paranoid. Because you never know if the hot air from your breath could trigger a feeding response, which I know is possible. Most of them do go off of smell, but I don't know. That's just a risk and a chance that I do not want to take, and I just try not to put any of my snakes up next to my face as much as I can help it. Obviously, there's sometimes when you can't, but it's a really cool head pattern on her. And let me put her back. We'll check out the common because the common boa just shed out as well. Alright, so this is the common boa, not to be confused with a red-tail boa, which a lot of people still get confused on. If the price is under $100, it's not a true red-tail. We can look at the red-tail after this, but I think I got her for around 40 bucks. I'm not sure what the going rate is. Maybe they're $100, but red-tails, true red-tails are $300, $400 and up to thousands and thousands of dollars. So don't get confused between the two. You should know instantly by the pricing. But that's not really for the topic of right now. But this girl just shed out and she's looking amazing. And this is my very first boa. So I had a king snake and 2 ball pythons, and I was kind of liking the ball pythons, and I was Googling other snakes. And I saw the boas, and I was like, I really don't like the boas. The head looks weird. Their body looks weird. I go down to Expo, and I saw her. Actually, I saw the albino, and I didn't want to pay the money for the albino. And then I saw her for only 40 bucks. I was like, okay, cool. I'll just get her. So sidetrack a little bit. But then I went the next month on the thing, and I saw the same vendor with the same albino, and I really like these boas. So then I got the albino, and then now I have a ton of them. But this was the gateway into the boas, and I really, really like the commons, or you can call them a wild type. May make them sound cooler than what they probably really are, but nonetheless, the wild type commons, this is the exact snake, color, pattern, everything. If you would go down to the rainforests anywhere, Central or South America, and you stumble across a boa, this is exactly the one that you would see. So it's kind of cool. It's a cool topic conversation starter. Like, this is the one that you would see out in the wild if you would come, if you would see one. So it's pretty cool. I do like the patterns. I like the colorations. A lot of people overlook the commons just because they're commons, and there's so many really, really nice morphs out there. But I'm glad I have her. I'm glad I kept her around, because even going in there and seeing some of the IMG stuff, the VPI stuff, and then looking at her, it's just like, she still looks really, really good. And just going back to the basics on kind of where a lot of this stuff started, and with the wild type stuff. But you can get some with really, really nice patterns, and not all commons are the same. Some of the colorations are lighter, they're darker. Some of the patterns are a little bit different. There's more speckling. The tails can be a little bit redder or a little bit darker, but most likely they're pretty red-ish when they're babies, so I can see why people get confused. But as they get older, they do turn into more of a rusty color. But nonetheless, I still like to look at her, hang out with her. She's very, very docile. She loves to eat. Great temperament, like I said. Really cool tail on her. Can't really see all of it. Oh, there we go. A little bit. But again, if you're getting into boas, or if you're into boas already, I would say just pay 50 bucks for a common, because most breeders don't want them, and you know, they just take up space, and it's just a waste of money to feed them for most breeders. But I like them, and if you were to breed, you can breed any coat onto it, and you can get some really cool babies. You might get a bunch of normals, but you could also get some cool stuff with them. So she's a good size. And so I've been taking out Pop Tart, the Green Anaconda, a lot, which is, she's younger than her and she's bigger than her. So after messing around with the anacondas and then coming back to some of these, I would say fairly decent sized boas. I mean, these just feel, they just feel like little babies. Like, even not just like the length of it, but the strength. So she's probably 4 years old, and she's probably on the smaller side, not breeder at all. So she gets fed when she's hungry. I don't pump her full of food because I had no intention on breeding her. I was just feeding her to keep her healthy. But you know, the anaconda is 3 years old, bigger, and she is so much stronger. A lot, way more muscle. Just when an anaconda just wraps around like this, even just a little bit bigger, you can tell how strong she is. And these ones are like, yeah, they squeeze onto you a little bit, but the strength and the power is just not there at all. But nonetheless, a gorgeous snake, and I'm rambling, I know. So let me put her back. We'll check out the Guyana redtail because we didn't really get to see her too much. And then we can look at kind of some differences, maybe a little bit. But I just want to show her, we haven't seen her in quite a while, but she is here, healthy, and looking amazing. Alright, so this is the Guyana redtail. She's a true redtail, and you guys will probably pay a couple $100s for one of these. Some of the redtails do go up into the thousands for the specialty ones, the ones with, I don't know how they get them, but like line bred or specialty bred, you get really cool patterns, extra bright red tails, and then depending on, I guess the lineage, or I don't know what the word is, the breeding of it, I don't know. But you can get some really nice snakes for a couple $100s. If you're not into breeding them, you might not want the extra $1,000. I don't know why she's being weird. But when I was putting the common back, so the common is underneath the Argentine. As you can see, my top area right here is coming down. So I just had the Argentine out, and she was doing very well, and I put the common back, and she hits the glass. So it scares me every time she does that. I know a lot of people hate rack systems, and I always say if it's appropriate size rack for the appropriate size snake, I don't have an issue with it. I think she's about to go to the bathroom on me. But so be aware if you guys keep snakes that are kind of defensive in ones with glass or plexiglass, because they will drill their face on there, and snakes do die. They break their necks, they break their jaws. So be aware of that. Put something over it. I know everybody likes to have like a display case, but just be aware of the negativity stuff that's not said on Facebook or Reddit. They say these are junk. Get a cage with glass, because then you can enjoy them. You can until they hit their face on it at the right angle, and then you have a huge vet bill or a paralyzed snake or a dead snake. So just be aware of what goes on with those. So with the Guyana, you can see that, maybe you can see on her, so she's a lot younger than the other one. They grow much slower. She had a bunch of issues when she was younger, so that may be the reason why she's so tiny. But anyways, there's a lot more pink on her belly and on her sides. You can see on the saddles how they're more of a puzzle piece, or some people say like a Batman logo. Now if you get the really expensive ones, they do have some really phenomenal looking saddles. But she lets me hold her tail up. You can see how bright red that tail is with the whites and the blacks, and they just look phenomenal. So you can definitely tell the difference on a true red tail compared to a common. And one thing is with the commons, as they get older, their tails fade out, while as the red tails, the Guyanas, the Peruvians, the Surinams, and everything else, their tails stay red, so they get brighter. They don't lose their color, and they just look phenomenal. So that's really it. I don't know what her deal is, like why she's being like this, but she's got to go to the bathroom, and I don't want her to poop on me. So not to jinx myself, but you know, in the last 6 years, I think I've had snakes for 6 years. I've never been pooped on. I've never been musked on. So my anacondas, have never musked on me at all, and I'm not taking them out, even though they are the bigger boas, even though they are boas. We'll get the anacondas out on another video. Just want to show you guys some of the two that we haven't seen in a while, and then of course her, because she's looks really nice, looks really good. A lot of speckling on her body, but again, she's docile. She likes to eat. She's on weaned rats, and she sheds quite frequently. She just doesn't grow. And I've got another snake like that too, who eats constantly. Every week is on rats and sheds every month, like consistently. Every month is shedding, and she is so, I don't want to say tiny, but just not growing like the other boas. So it's just interesting. But I do like the eyes on them. The eyes look good on the commons. Well, they are still a common, because you will go out into the other side of South America, and then you can just walk around and you'll pick these up. So I guess they are a common. They're a common red tail, but different bloodlines. Almost every single morph that you see will come off of the common or the BI or the BCI. There's really not any morphs from the BCC line, the Boa Constrictor, I do believe. Maybe it's still called the BC now. I don't know. They change stuff all the time. But it's interesting why there's really not any morphs off of this line. I don't know if people try to keep them pure, or it just doesn't work. I don't know. But anyways, that's it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed seeing just a few of these snakes. I'll see you guys on the next video.